Hello and welcome back to another Mevo Live. I am Joe Capar. I'm the lead technical specialist here at Mevo, and we're super excited to have you back. If you're new to our show, please feel free to put your questions in the chat. I have myself and Will, which I'll be introducing momentarily, who are more than ready to answer your questions. We're also prepared to both demo the Mevo 2.0 app and Mevo Multicam. So any questions that you may have, please let us know. For today's production, we are remote. I am here in Mevo Studio in Brooklyn, New York, and Will is in his personal residence, fully remote. And we are using a service called Video Ninja. We are both using Mevo Starts via NDI going into Streamlabs OBS, and he's outputting via virtual webcam, and I'm outputting via NDI. And you're seeing all of this through Vimeo using their multi-destination. Outside of that, we are both going to be using blue microphones today. And without further ado, I'll let Will tell you exactly what kind of microphone he's using because I know his is a little bit different, but mine is a blue baby bottle. And I believe his is a blue bluebird, but I'll let him confirm for us. Hello, Will, and welcome to the show, man. How are you today?
Hey, what's up, Joe? How you doing? I'm doing good. I am set up very similar to you. I've got for audio, I'm using the Bluebird microphone, which is very nice. Not quite as nice as the blue bottle, but definitely not bad. I've got my Mevo connected to Ethernet, which is then sending the NDI signal over to OBS, running on my MacBook Pro. And yeah, then I'm connecting to you with Video Ninja. So everything is pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, for such a technical, I mean, it took a couple minutes to even just list off everything we're using. But I mean, we took what, 30, 45 minutes to do some testing. No matter how prepared we were, we always have to make sure we're testing. We always try to stress that to our users to make sure they are doing the same. No matter how comfortable they are, they've got to test because I mean, we didn't change anything in our setup, but live streaming is live streaming, and we had audio sync issues at the beginning of the show. Well, just before we started the show, we've had some quality dips with some bitrate issues. So it just goes to show you, no matter how comfortable you are in your configuration, no matter how prepared you feel, you've got to make sure you're always doing those tests.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, well, sorry for interrupting, but yeah, as I said, please make sure you put your questions in the chat. We are live on both YouTube and Facebook. Will and I are more than ready to demonstrate Mevo 2.0, which I believe is now Mevo 2.5. But I think the app's technically still called Mevo 2.0. But we do have Mevo 2.5, which introduces HEVC, which kind of goes with our theme today. We are going to be talking about bit rates, connection, whether you're using Multicam or Mevo 2.0, what you have to look forward to, what you need to look into. Because we have a lot of questions about how everything is processed, encoded, and delivered. The difference between Mevo 2.0 and Multicam, it's significant. So definitely a show you do not want to miss when it comes to getting into the dirty, down and dirty, into the details about what this all entails. So, Will, what is specifically different between Mevo 2.0 and Multicam, and what does it really entail? Because I don't think a lot of people understand that it's not the same. You go from not just one camera to up to 3, but you're also using different encoding processes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, right off the bat, the big difference between the 2.0 app or 2.5 app and the Multicam app is that the Multicam app is streaming from the device itself versus the 2.0 app, which is using the Mevo to stream out if you're connected via Wi-Fi or Ethernet. And so with the Multicam app, when the Mevos are sending their video to the Multicam app, they are connecting via HEVC or H.265. And this way it requires less bandwidth overall to send multiple Mevos to your device. And this really is really great. And it now, but it streams out as H.264. So basically, we recommend in the 2.0 app that you use or that you have available around 10 megabytes per second for upload speed. And in the Multicam app, you're doing a very similar thing, but it's typically using less to stream, even though you're using 3 Mevos versus a single.
Yeah, it's awesome. A lot of users even a lot of people even kind of get confused with the difference because specifically when it comes to multicam, your mobile device is doing all of the encoding. Whereas Mevo 2.0, when you're using a single camera, your Mevo is doing the encoding and delivering to your favorite platform or platforms of choice. Where it comes to multicam, you are going to see things where it comes down to your mobile device. So, for example, I had a user yesterday expressing how they had all of their Mevos hardwired via Ethernet. However, when it came down to it, their mobile device was still running via wireless. So they have created a bottleneck using the mobile device wirelessly. So although the Ethernet was creating stability and eliminating a lot of that interference that you may have been seeing, you do run into things where, let me turn my audio down just a little bit. I appreciate the feedback. So when it comes back to, you know, creating a bottleneck, so you are creating stability using Ethernet and things like that, but when your mobile device is still running wirelessly, that's where the program out's coming from in multicam. We have an article that covers pretty in depth of what that actually looks like. So let me see if I can pull that article up real quick. There's Will. Hello, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you.
Here we go. So we've got some really useful webcam or multicam articles here in the Mevo app, and it really covers a lot of different things when it comes to multicam. Okay, so the one I specifically wanted to show you all today is this one, the network setup. So although a lot of the things are the same for Mevo 2.0 or Mevo Multicam, we've talked about Bonjour, we talk about, you know, port configurations and things like that, but this is a big one that we wanted to make sure we highlighted. And this is a perfect diagram that explains, you know, how multicam works. So as you can see, and although these indicate wireless, you could also use these via Ethernet and a combination of the two. But basically, all of your Mevo, whether Mevo Start, Mevo Plus, Mevo First Gen, running wirelessly, running Ethernet, they're all sending the feed through your local network into your mobile device. Your mobile device then takes those feeds and then it selects each individual shot and then outputs that as a program and encodes it and sends it to the internet. Now, where that's different than Mevo is typically it would just be Mevo to internet. It would eliminate all of this extra stuff in between with Mevo 2.0 because your Mevo is doing all of the encoding. Well, now your mobile device is doing all that heavy lifting. And if you're trying to get the most stable setup, of course, Ethernet is the best way to go. And that doesn't stop at the Mevo. You can also implement an Ethernet connection with your mobile device. I recommend it specifically if you're static. If you're on the go, I totally get it. Not super necessary, but if you're at a static location, you're not changing things on the regular and your camera stay in the same spot, your network's the same, your tablet's the same. I would recommend looking into getting an Ethernet adapter for your tablet. That way you can keep it as stable as possible. What is probably one of the most common questions you see when it comes to, you know, networking when it comes to multicam? I know multicam is the big one right now. So we're getting a lot of tickets specifically for multicam. What do you think is probably the number one misconception when it comes to connecting or, you know, even just device discovery with multicam?
I would say one of the big ones is how much bandwidth do I need to have a multicam setup, and because a lot of people initially think that you do need, 10 megabytes per second per Mevo, and then it requires, a heftier network. But it's not the case because it uses H.265 or HEVC. It doesn't require 10 megabytes per second per Mevo, but you can customize the specific camera input resolution as well as the latency, which I can pull up real quick. So here's my nice handy dandy iPad setup with the Multicam app. And so if you pop into camera input quality, as you can see, the highest one, 1080p high video, is sending over just 5 megabytes per second. So it's not a lot. And the reason that it is 5 megabytes per second is because it is HEVC, which was just introduced, actually, I will say, in the Mevo 2.5 version app and in NDI. So you can turn that on now in the 2.5 app. And so if you want to use NDI, it takes half the amount of bandwidth for the same quality. It's really cool. So another thing you can do in the Multicam app to reduce the amount of bandwidth that is required on your network is set your latency to high. And setting your latency to high means that it will take longer for the image to go from your Mevo to the Multicam app. So these are two things that can be done in the Multicam app to kind of reduce that bandwidth required. So a lot of people think that you need a lot more than you actually do need. So that would be a big one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I had a conversation just yesterday, I believe, with a user trying to explain, bit rate, upload speeds, and things like that. That kind of goes along with that local network requirements. With using HEVC, that also goes into play when it comes to upload speed. A lot of users get confused thinking that I'm using 3 Mevo, so now I need 3 times the upload speed. Simply not the truth. It could be more demanding on your local network. We are using HEVC, so as he pointed out, not typically the case. However, at the end of the day, the upload speed also is not going to be affected due to the local network load. So having more cameras doesn't mean you need more bandwidth, however, or upload speed. However, if you are trying to do like multiple destinations and you don't use something like Vimeo or Restream or something like that, you could run into some issues where you're sending it to multiple different destinations simultaneously, but you're not using it a redistribution service. At that point, yes, you're going to start multiplying your upload speeds because you're uploading individually to each platform. However, if you're using something like Vimeo or Restream, you don't run into that issue anymore because you're using their bandwidth and their upload and all of that, all of their resources. That's what you're paying for, is to offload that strain on your network and putting it on their servers. And I think that's another really big one going on right now. But let's get into some questions before we continue on with our conversations on network and see what we've got going on. Do you have Facebook or YouTube up? I'll open up the other one.
I've got both up. So it looks like we've got a lot more on YouTube today. So if you're watching on Facebook, please do send in your questions. We're happy to answer all of them. Looks like Jason Hoffman is in chat today on YouTube. How you doing, Jason? Jason makes a lot of great videos. If you haven't checked out some of his videos already, I do highly recommend it. He's also always in our Facebook group. He says, what do we hope will be revealed today? Which is always a great question for our live shows.
Yeah, tips and tricks. So as you said, yeah, Jason's a big part of our community. Actually, recently shared within our internal company conversations. I shared his videos in our Slack channel, I believe. I think you've probably seen it. So kind of sparked a little bit of conversations within the company. We like to share what you guys are all doing out there. So please continue to create that content, Jason. As for anybody else who's thinking about creating content, be sure to share it. We want to see what you all are doing. We want to see, maybe where we can kind of collaborate. Let us know what you all are doing. We want to definitely be a part of it. As far as what's being revealed today, unfortunately, nothing super great. We don't have any new announcements. However, hopefully someday soon. I like to do announcements, but unfortunately not right now. Now, if you do keep your eye out for upcoming app releases, I think some really cool, exciting things are down the pipeline there. So definitely keep tuning in. Hopefully, maybe we'll try to put it in our titles, when we're doing something super exciting. Maybe we won't, though, because then that gives you a reason why, if you don't see anything in the title, you might not come watch it. So if we keep you guessing, that makes you come back. I think that's the play. Awesome. So it looks like we have Ricardo Segara on Facebook. Also, Joe, thanks for your advice with joysticks for the NDI Studio monitor. It rocks with the Mevos. Yeah, and I'm glad you're getting some use out of that, Ricardo. So I was recommended Ricardo. So a lot of users want to use something like Multicam, or they want to use something like the Mevo 2.0 app to manually control all of your Mevo that you're bringing in, whether it's in Livestream Studio, whether it's in Streamlabs OBS, Ecamm, Wirecast, vMix, all of those things. Now, one thing you can really do instead of having multiple devices or trying to output multicam, you can absolutely use a NewTek Studio monitor. So this is using NDI, and simply using a joystick allows you to do the same exact things you would do on the app, but you're using a joystick instead. And you can basically tile all of these windows. So say you're using 4 Mevo, you could have, one Mevo in the bottom left, a Mevo in the top left, or top right and bottom right. And you could use a joystick and use a mouse and simply switch between them and control them that way before you switch them over in OBS. So or whatever platform you're using. So definitely kind of like a trick. I would like to get us a joystick here so I can demo it one day. So if that's something you all would like to see occur live, let us know, and we'll see how quickly we can get us a joystick here in the office.
I saw somebody do it with a gamepad,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I thought was
yeah.
pretty cool. Nice little
I,
game controller.
I wonder if you could do. I wonder if you could do it with like a touchpad, like drawing and stuff. Like the. I
Probably.
wonder if because I mean it would you would. I don't know. I don't know how they work, but we're gonna try some stuff. Let us know if you'd like to see us do it live. We like to do some testing. If we do it live, it gets a little fun. Sean says on Facebook, "Good day. I have BombBomb, a video email service. When sending video emails inside my business Gmail account, how can I use my Mevo as a primary camera to respond to emails with video? I'm using a MacBook and iPhone. I am not familiar with BombBomb at all. However, if you want to use your Mevo as a webcam with your computer, you can do that. We have both wired and wireless. And I can pull up an article while Will answers the next question on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll pull up the article and show you what the webcam article looks like.
All right, so we've got Ron Greenberg on YouTube says, if live using a cell phone as source to Facebook, how do you prevent incoming calls? So to prevent incoming calls, if you're using your phone or tablet, you could just put on do not disturb, which is iOS, and I think Android has some version that is the same.
Yeah, I think it's the same.
Yeah, so that's the best way to do that. Fred the Hippo says Multicam update with new features coming soon. Always. You're always going to see new features in Multicam and in Mevo 2.0. We're always improving our hardware and software. DJ Fuzz says, besides your own power over Ethernet adapter, is there another option you would recommend? Yours is a bit pricey. We actually have a whole help article on that.
Let's pull that one up too. I'm telling you, maybe today's the day of articles. I'm about it. So let me go ahead and pull up the browser. We should have us both over here. Just type in Ethernet. Look at that. Ethernet power adapter and third-party adapters. I'm going to scroll down just a bit. We have tons of media, tons of supporting things, showing you exactly what it is. I do want to specify the Mevo PoE adapter is the only power only over Ethernet adapter that is supported. However, there are some Ethernet only adapters, and then there is Ethernet adapter. Oh, I'm going to break some stuff. We do have some Ethernet adapters with power delivery as well. Of course, make sure you read the warnings. We have some that we've tested out, so you should feel confident that these will work. However, there are some tips and tricks on how these actually need to be set up before you can use them. But if you just go to help.mevo.com, search up Ethernet adapter, and you'll find this article with links directly. I believe they all go to Amazon. Yeah, they do, or most of them at least. So yeah, you can go check those out. And since we have this open, here is the other article for wired and wireless webcam mode. Basically, it covers wired webcam. It talks about wireless webcam and wireless for Windows. So we've got Mac and Windows, and it talks about requirements, the downloads that you need. And once again, it shows you step by step on where you can find everything and get your stuff set up. It even has like a compatibility chart, which needs updated, mind you, because Discord is compatible, as I've learned recently, both wired and wireless. Yeah, super cool. Super cool. Okay. Let's keep on moving on.
DJ Fuzz has another question. He says, can I use Restream or Ecamm Live directly from the Mevo, or do I need a computer? You would need a computer because, or I guess, no, Restream, you wouldn't. Restream, you can stream directly to Restream via RTMP. If you wanted to use Restream as their webcam service, then you would need a computer, obviously. And then Ecamm has no other way other than running on a computer. It's just computer software. So.
Indeed. Where are we? So that was DJ Fuzz, correct? Yep. I think.
Yep.
So we got Jason Hoffman, the input quality and latency info will help a lot of folks. Yeah, we hope so. We really want to make sure everyone understands, how this stuff works. We get it. It can be complicated, especially for first-time users. So we want to make sure it's as clear as day. That way people know exactly what they need to do and what to troubleshoot and look for if they do run into issues. Calvin says, when we try to go live with Mevo Multicam app, it is not broadcasting live. When I have tested it, does it correctly? Unfortunately, don't have enough information, Calvin. However, if you go to help.mevo.com, we'd be more than happy to help you via ticket, provide as much information, any videos, supporting documents, supporting media would definitely expedite a solution, but we're more than happy to jump into that. We'll both be in there as soon as the show's over, so you don't have to worry too much. We have a pretty good response time. DJ Fuzz did my first DJ live stream on Friday evening. It was great. But every once in a while, the YouTube Studio gave me some message about YouTube streaming software. Sending did it. Yep. Don't need to worry about it. You can safely ignore this. It's just the way that the Mevo delivers data. There's nothing you need to worry about. It doesn't affect your stream whatsoever. It's just more of an informational prompt more than it is a warning. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can safely ignore this without risking any part of your stream. Awesome. Actually, I'm kind of surprised we're not getting that prompt right now. I usually max out YouTube pretty well. Oh, anyways, yeah, you can take the next one. Sorry, I kind of become a hog on these questions.
All good. All right. Sean Bryant says, is there a way to control the sound when live streaming? I would like to mute the camera when playing a countdown timer and turn it back on after. Absolutely. Yeah, in the Mevo 2.0 app, in the audio mixer, which I think Joe can pop open real quick.
Sorry, I missed the question. What am I demoing?
So showing how to control audio while doing a live stream, showing how you can mute and unmute the audio.
Awesome. So I am using software called Reflector for this demo. So if I unmute the audio, you're going to hear it twice, but I'll do it for a short period just so you can see. But all you have to do is go down to the bottom right in this ellipsis here, and then tap the microphone on the far bottom left, and you get into the audio mixer. So in the top right of the audio mixer, you're going to see the word help, and you'll see a speaker. Now this speaker is for monitoring. It is not for output. So basically what this means is anything that the Mevo hears, it's going to be played from the iPad. So traditionally, unless you're using headphones or earbuds or something, you want to make sure that's off. Otherwise, you're going to create a very, very annoying repeating situation that's going to eventually result in a very loud and annoying squeal, causing a lot of feedback. Now, right below that speaker, you're going to see this microphone. Now, this is output. This means this controls what you're hearing. So if I unmute it here, and I can adjust some stuff over here, this will control every output that is below it. So you'll see right below that, you've got the Mevo, you've got all of the audio processing settings for that specific Mevo. But if I was to go into edit inputs, I could bring in the iPad microphone. And you can see now I have the iPad microphone and the Mevo, and I can control those both individually, and then use this master slider up here to control every source that is below it. So individually, you can control them all, and then as a master source, you can control it using the output slider. Hopefully that was pretty useful information. A lot of that stuff's really easy to do, especially during the actual stream. Really not that hard to get to, only a couple of clicks. But I do recommend that you test your audio before you go live. The last thing you want is to run into any kind of issues. All right.
So we have another Mevo 2.0 question. Is there a way to get a countdown timer without a computer?
Yes. Yes.
The
Is this
answer is
Mevo?
yes.
Did you say it's Mevo 2.0 specifically?
Yep, Mevo 2.0.
Let's do it. Let's get back into the demo then. We are ready. Okay, so all we have to do is click right here. Okay, let me make this very clear so as of last week, this is a completely free feature. Previously, you needed a Vimeo plan. No longer is that necessary. You can just press the stancher or stancher. That's the art term, right? I don't know. I always just call it the graphic button. Then the bottom right, and then you could press for the graphic here, and then create a new countdown. So the countdown function has a couple of different options. You can do a countdown using a specific duration. So if I say countdown from 5 minutes, it'll count down from that. Or I can set a time. So here you see it's set to 3:26. I can change this to, I don't know, what time is it now? 2:27. So I'll do 3 p.m. and press the check mark. Add some text until live. We can change some colors if we want. You can get real creative here. I actually like that blue, so I'm pretty excited that it stopped on there randomly. And once that's done, we can actually go ahead and select it. And you actually have a lot of really cool features and functionality where you can really change where it's going to. So it's supposed to count down till 3 p.m. And that is exactly 32 minutes and 30 seconds away. So basically, it's going to count down to the time that you have selected. Now, I do warn you because things do happen before you go live. So I recommend that you have 2 countdowns set. One for the time that you typically go live for. For us, it's 2 p.m. So we do have countdowns specifically that go to 2 p.m. However, sometimes things happen, and the last thing you want to do is to be fumbling around with your mobile device, creating another countdown last moment. So I recommend that you create a secondary countdown, one that uses specifically the duration, and have like a 3 to 5 minute countdown. That way, if you do get too close to the 2 o'clock or your starting time, you can use the duration countdown opposed to the starting time countdown. That way, you have enough buffer between starting and actually being live on your production. And then just the note, you can actually move this countdown around, so it doesn't necessarily need to be a full screen countdown. You can even use something like a countdown like this, specifically to do something to show like intermission times or countdowns until the next round or halftime or something cool. Or if you're doing a giveaway and you want to specifically have 1 minute in between each giveaway, you can have a cool countdown on the screen. Doesn't have to be full screen, doesn't have to cover everything. You can see it on my screen over here. Yep, right there. Yeah, there it is. So you can see it on the screen there that it's not covering my screen, but it's still very visible to any viewers. And just so you know, you can do all of these things, and all of it is stored directly on your micro SD card. So you can create as many graphics and overlays as you want for absolutely free, and they're stored directly on your SD card. So if you do want to switch cameras, you can just take the SD card, move it to another camera. You don't have to worry about recreating the graphics simply because you're using a different camera. Woo! It's been a long time since I've done a really cool demo like that.
Well done. All right.
Thank you.
We've got another question on YouTube. Mitchell Shelby says, can I play commercials like a news network during my broadcast? So yes and no. Using the Mevo 2.0 app and the Multicam app, you cannot add videos at this time. But if you connect your Mevo to your computer and use software like OBS, Ecamm, Wirecast, vMix, Livestream Studio, you can absolutely add videos to your broadcast. So that would be the way to do it. All right. DJ Fuzz says, how do I adjust whether my stream goes out in 720 or 1080p? So for the Multicam app, I can show you that, and then Joe can show you the 2.0 app. So for the Multicam app, in the top right, when you hit live, you can adjust your stream resolution. And don't forget, this can only max out at your camera input resolution. So if your camera input is only 720p, if you're doing that for bandwidth reasons, then you can only stream at 720p. So that is the deal with the Multicam app, and we can show you how to adjust your stream resolution in the Mevo 2.0 app as well.
Let's do it. So in the Mevo 2.0 app, it's still extremely simple. You just press the bottom left record, stream, whatever button you want to call it. And you just, at the top left, you'll see 1080. If you tap on that, you have the ability to select 720, 480, 360. Just note, some platforms do limit you and your resolution. So although I select 1080 and say I'm using, multi-desk Facebook, Facebook will drop it down to 720. It will not still be 1080. But if you're using a single destination going to Facebook you're not using Vimeo, you're going from Mevo directly to Facebook, then it'll remain 1080. If you try to go to Periscope / Twitter, which is just now Twitter, I think, then they also limit you at 720. So there are different platform resolution requirements and limitations, but it's as simple as clicking here. Now, if you do send it out in 1080 and you are using multi-destination, you will be able to max out each individual platform. So say if you're using YouTube and Facebook and you're using multi-destination, you'll send the stream out as 1080. Facebook will ingest it and output it as 720. YouTube will receive it as 1080 and will output it as 1080. So you don't have to worry about one platform affecting your entire production. They will each individually have their own resolution based on the max resolution that you have configured within the app. Awesome.
Cool. Calvin says, how do I stream to Facebook and YouTube and other platforms at the same time using the Multicam app? So we have a great article that was recently added to our help section that goes over the different services that you can use. But you can use, off the top of my head, we've got Vimeo Premium. You can use that. You can use Caster, and the other one is Restream.io. So there you go. Perfect. I will say, usually if we see a question in tickets, we try to make an article for it so that we can have an article for literally every possible question. We don't have all of them, not 100%. We still run into ones all the time and add new articles, but we try to have an article for every question. So definitely refer back to the help center.
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge resource. But that was on YouTube, that question?
Yeah, that was a YouTube question.
All right, I'll go ahead and throw that in the chat while we're at it. And you can go ahead and take the next one.
Cool. All right. Elite Media 7 Film Production says, my church uses the Multicam app to record. It's looking great. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Pastor is getting real great with recognizing the red and green dots to let him know the cam is on. Oh, awesome. Yeah, the tally light is really useful, especially when you're doing multiple cameras for your production. So I'm really glad that that's going really well. Great.
Yeah, that takes some practice. That takes a lot of practice. It's not something that really comes naturally. Like at first you get a little panicked and then you're like chasing it. You find yourself a little delayed, get a little flustered. So it's a great thing when someone kind of masters how that really functions and is comfortable with the system. But yeah, tally lights definitely underrated. But I'm glad that, typical everyday users are getting some good use out of it for sure. It's something very simple, right? You're changing an LED color, but it's super useful.
All right. Sean Bryant says, is the countdown free now? It is. Excitingly enough, countdown and graphics and PDF, all free.
Gotta love
it. Right? Absolutely clapping for that. So really excited to finally release that. Make sure your app is version 2.5 or higher.
Yeah, and I believe the firmware is 2.51, and I think that's for both. Oh no, that's just for. I don't know. I don't think Plus got a change with that. I don't think they got new firmware. I think it was just Start got the 2.5.1, but it's free for both of you. I just don't think think Plus got an update. Cool.
Right.
Sorry.
Elite Media 7 Film Production says, my question is lighting. We're looking dull. What are you and Joe using for your and your colors are great. So let's see. Joe is using a different setup, but I am using a bunch of hue lights. So Philips Hue makes a ton of different LED bulbs that you can change to any color that you want. And so I try and have them picked up into some cool color when I'm doing the show. And then, but overall, I'm using the hue lights and I'm using a ring light. Ring light's always good. The Mevo always does better. The picture quality is always going to be better with more lighting.
I'm going to see if I can show them my lighting real quick by jumping on and using my phone as a remote source. see if we can do that. But yeah, go ahead with the next question, and I'll see if I can get my phone
Sure.
in here and show.
Ron Greenberg says, how do you stream to Zoom? So the Mevo is able to connect to your computer as a webcam source to use for Zoom, but it can't stream directly to Zoom without the computer. So you can connect it to your computer using wired webcam mode, wireless webcam, or NDI. So those would be the three methods to do it. And we have a hugely popular help article that covers all those different options. Because Zoom is a huge one for all Mevo users. So
Absolutely.
Rob Munzing says, is a partnership with Boxcast coming? We use them for our CDM and they restroom for us. So they restream for us. Got it. All right. Don't think so. Boxcast, definitely not a partnership, but I'm not sure if what do they do?
Yeah, I'm
RTMP?
not. I've heard of the name, but I'm not familiar with it, to be honest. You gonna Google it real quick?
All right. I am.
Okay. Well, while you're Googling
You
it,
have
I'll
your
go ahead
lighting
and
ready?
see. Yeah, I think so. Let's see if I can. Let me dump me out of here. Scene 7, and toss. So this is what the lighting situation currently looks like at my setup. We do have quite a bit of lights. We've got, some spotlights, some filler lights, and things like that. It kind of gives you a full view of what everything looks like. And then, of course, if you're familiar with Will's setup during his multicam show when he's in the office, it's right over there. And he's got a couple of filler lights as well. So, Mevo does like lights. We understand that not everybody is going to be able to use something like this. However, when it comes down to it, you could use something like Lytra, right? So Lytra has some really great light solutions, pretty good entry-level lights. You can also find some other solutions on Amazon. It doesn't have to be, big brand studio lighting. You can get those lighting sources for basic everyday creators. So definitely don't feel like you need to break the bank to get the same quality of lights that we have. You can absolutely find some entry level lights using like Lytra or something like that. And of course, Lytra has higher end lights as well. So I mean, really, kind of, what's your budget? What are you trying to do? Honestly, if you've got a good source of light in the room you're in general, you probably don't need it. We just have it because it makes it a little bit easier. We don't have to fumble around very much. We can turn them on and just go. So hopefully that was useful to see. All right.
Cool. So jumping back to the Boxcast question, so it looks like they support RTMP, so you can stream directly from the Mevo to Boxcast, and so yeah, that should be good.
Nice.
All right. Let's see. Ron Greenberg says, I'm interested specifically in streaming to Zoom with the Multicam app. So this is definitely a popular request, and we are working on bringing multicam to the computer. You'll notice on our coming soon page, we have NDI listed as one of the coming soon features with multicam. And so we're definitely looking into lots of different ways to make that possible. Right now, the only way to do that is to set up a custom RTMP server on your computer and stream that way. And we actually have an article that covers that as well. I think it's multicam to OBS or something like that. So definitely check that out.
All right, let's just do it, right? Like we've got it here. Everything's available. I'm telling you, all of our articles are all inclusive. They have tons of great information. We are missing a parenthesis. Mistakes were made, my friend.
Mistakes were made.
Okay.
It's good that we pointed out though on a live show. That's a good idea.
Why not? Why not? We got to fix it. It'll be all right. We'll get it done after the show. Anyways, we have tons of articles. What's a parenthesis, right? we'll get all, like, we have all of these great images, all of these great step-by-steps. We highlight exactly the information you need. Our team's very good at doing things like this. So if we are missing an article and you think that we could be a little bit more on depth in something, or we're missing something, or we just don't have anything at all on the topic, let us know. We'll see if we can dig a little deeper for you and see if we can create you something similar to this. But this is quite the in-depth article. You really are hitting a lot of different aspects of streaming here. I mean, we're showing you how to set up an RTMP server on the computer. I mean, I don't know any other platforms that walk you through something kind of out of the realm of, the Mevo. The Mevo doesn't, it's not an RTMP server. So the fact that we have an article that shows you how to get that set up, I'm telling you, we have a great help center here, help.mevo.com. Oh, and if you just go back to Multicam, look at all these. Look at them. Look at all those things.
Crazy.
Will, you created most of them over here in the Multicam area. So props to you, my friend. Props to you.
Thank you, sir.
Of course. Of course. Okay, let's see if we can go back here. Are we all caught up on YouTube? Okay, so it looks like
Yes.
Elite Media says, thanks for the lights. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being responsive. Thanks, DJ Fuzz. We appreciate you and Elite Media. Let's go back over to Facebook. Darmish says, can I do green screen on Multicam? Thanks. Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because you do have a green screen set up as one of your shots right now.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes and
Go
no.
ahead.
So again, this comes back to that Multicam to OBS article, which now, so right now you can connect to OBS with the Multicam app via RTMP, like I was just talking about. But other than that, you'll have to wait until we come out with a connection option for Multicam on the computer. So you can't do it in the app, unfortunately.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Landon says, on the Mevo app, can we zoom in anymore? It gets to a certain point where it won't zoom in anymore. Any plans to allow for more zoom? All right, Landon, that's a great question. And I think it's a perfect time for me to go over to the demo screen to kind of talk about why we have a limitation. Now, we do have some settings here. If you go into the ellipsis over here, press the settings, audio, video, you'll see maximum zoom, default zoom right here. So you can change the maximum and default zoom levels. Jeez. And then, what the default tap zoom would be, so if I set these at 1.2, I tap in, that's the small as it's going to get. I could go back and change it here. And now it's at 3. So when I tap again, oh, what did I do? Did I not do it right? Oh, okay. Anyways, so as you can see right below, it says warning, above 2.3 may cause artifacts. And the reason that this is because the smaller that you zoom in, it's basically taking that resolution and fitting it to, or the selection that you've made and fitting it to your output. So since the Mevo it doesn't have an optical zoom, it's a digital zoom. Basically, it's literally taking the selection and stretching it. It's not just zooming in. So the more that you try to force this and the more that it occurs, the more distortion and tearing or pixelation you may see in the output, which is typically what we don't want users to see. So we do limit it. However, you can kind of counteract some of these if you're using something like extra lights. Lights can help. A brighter scene can help with things like that. But at the end of the day, it is still a digital zoom. So zooming more is not a great idea. We do highly recommend that you keep your Mevo, whether it's a Mevo Plus or a Mevo Start, within 5 to 10 feet of your subject. That's the best thing that we can recommend. Of course, you can have wider angles, but if your goal is to zoom in and get a close-up, we recommend that you zoom in as far, or not to zoom in, we recommend you move your Mevo as close as you can. If this is the scene that you want, then have it that close to capture it. Now, if you want to have this, and this is the widest shot that you want, then move your camera forward. That way you can limit the amount of zooming. If you do want to zoom, you're not stretching for no reason. You can limit that zoom and eliminate that quality deterioration. Great question. Ricardo says, does Mevo team have considered to add an interchangeable external zoom lens to cam hardware? I mean, of course, it's been recommended. A lot of people have asked for an optical zoom opposed to a digital zoom. So, who knows what the future holds? We're always working on new products, trying to work on existing products. So, down the road, I guess you just have to kind of subscribe and follow us on all of our social channels. That way, when an announcement like that does come out, if it could, maybe, who knows, you'll be the first to know. So definitely make sure you like, follow, subscribe at Mevo Camera on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all of our social or major social platforms. You will find us at Mevo Camera, and that's where you're going to find the latest and greatest of news. We typically put those on social well before we even put it on our website, typically about the same exact time, actually. So, if you want to keep up to date with what's going on in the Mevo world, that's the best way to do it. Awesome. We got anything else on YouTube? It looks like we're hitting about 50 minutes almost.
TCB in a flash says, are you using Multicam together with the computer to do this 2-panel format, or are you using NDI on the Mevo with the computer? So we are both using NDI to connect to the computer, and then we are using a service called BDO.Ninja.
It's a wonderful, wonderful platform. Now, that's not to say we couldn't accomplish something similar with Multicam. The only issue is when it comes to Multicam, all the cameras need to be on the same network, and they need to be able to communicate. Since Will's in a separate location, that wouldn't be possible. However, in the future, when, all of our other features come, we talk about picture-in-picture, we talk about NDI, we talk about all of those things in Multicam. Once those things come, the less we can use third-party or, additional software, we're going to try to use our software. If you've seen any of our previous shows, we always try to use the Mevo 2.0 app. We always try to use Multicam. However, when it comes to demos, we need to make sure we're using a computer so you can get a crisp shot of the screen. Otherwise, you're getting a shot from something like this, where we're aiming down, which isn't a terrible shot, but when it comes to a screen that has glare or fingerprints, it's not ideal. If I'm cooking, that's one thing. If I'm doing a DJ set, that's another. But trying to capture a screen from a camera is not ideal. So that's why we use this third-party software or anything like Streamlabs or whatever it may be, Livestream Studio. That's why we do it, is so you can see our screens better. Now, when Multicam does come out with those features, picture-in-picture, NDI, I think you'll see us using those significantly more. Let's see here.
That is it for questions on YouTube.
Got one more on Facebook. One not necessarily a question, but Ron Greenberg says a lens cover addition would be useful. I agree, Ron. For anyone who may not have a case, do I have a case over here? I do have a case. Anyone who may not have a case to protect their lens, I could see how a lens cover could be useful. It does have a lip here, so it technically does protect it. Oh, you can't see this, but it does protect it when it goes down because of this lip. But I could see, having an additional protection. It is an investment. The last thing you want to do is damage it on the go. But if you don't have a case already, you can really protect your lens by covering it up with the case. Cases are only $29.99 on Mevo.com. I think sometimes they even go on sale for $25.99. But I would keep an eye out for, a good deal on a case. You can get one pretty cheap. And it protects your investment. It's a pretty solid choice. Pretty solid. Awesome. So it looks like we have now wrapped it up on both YouTube and on Facebook. Let me see here. I just want to scroll. Oh, Joseph Coretta says, and I apologize if I messed that up. What are the best bit rates? So when it comes down to it, the best bit rates that you're going to need for Mevo, it's basically the presets that are in there. So what I can recommend is the higher the bit rate, the higher the quality. However, we have all of these presets in there simply because not everyone's network will play as well with these higher bit rates. So if your network can only handle a 720p stream, select 720. Don't try to force 1080 because 1080 with a terrible upload speed is going to look worse than 720 with a worse, less than ideal upload speed. So you don't want to stretch your output simply because the numbers sound good. 1080p, if your upload doesn't support it, is not going to look as good as 720 that your upload can support. You don't want to stress out your network. So we do have all these presets in place, and you can kind of just play with it based on your network. If your network can handle the higher bit rate, do it. Highly recommend it. It's going to be a little bit better quality, and you may not notice it until you you put the video side by side. But once you start pushing it, especially in NDI accepts up to 15 megabytes per second as a bit rate, and then HEVC uses even less with the same quality. So it really kind of depends. I would just do some testing and see what works best for you and your production and your network. Whew. Well, since Multicam's kind of your baby, Will, let's talk about the 3-pack, huh? Interestingly enough, so the 3-pack, sorry, Will, it doesn't seem like your audio for some reason is coming in, even though we tested it. We tested this. We tested it. I'm not quite sure what's occurring here. But the Mevo 3-pack is available on all the different platforms. And it's no longer just exclusively on Mevo.com. You can find it on Amazon, B&H, Best Buy, Adorama, I believe, as well. You can find it at all of our partner resellers. You can get the Mevo 3-pack today on all of them. And I believe they're all in stock. They just received them. Not to mention, if you don't need another 3-pack, you can use our referral program. The referral program, you can recommend other users to purchase a Mevo. And you can earn yourself 5% kickback and save them 5% at the same time. So, save them 5% for a purchase they'll probably make anyways, earn yourself 5% commission. That way, why not? You're probably already recommending Mevo. You may as well go ahead and earn yourself a little kickback for doing so. You can go to mevo.com/referral, sign up, get a custom coupon code, name it after your organization, and take full advantage of that program. Whew. I wonder what happened to your audio. I messed up somewhere, but I'm just not sure where yet. Anyways, hopefully you found our show very useful. We try to do as many demos as possible. Hopefully we answered everybody's questions. If you are unaware, we do go live Tuesdays and Thursdays at Mevo Camera on YouTube and on Facebook. Facebook limits us to 720p, so if you're looking for a little bit better quality of our show, go check all of our content as well. And all of our live shows, if you're catching it afterwards, you can get it on YouTube. All of our videos are available on demand to be watched later down the road. Hey, look at that. I'm getting that error now from YouTube saying the bitrate warning. I did it. Oh, sorry. I get excited about little things. It's the little things, Will. So, Will, tell us, where should they go if they need assistance, like technical help?
If you need some help, head over to help.mevo.com. And obviously, we've talked about it a lot on today's show, but we have articles for, I think, almost everything that you can think of. But if we haven't had an article, then you can reach out to us on help.mevo.com, and we will be glad to help you one-on-one, and we will help solve your issues.
Absolutely. I think last I checked, we have like 250 articles covering just about every topic. If you've never been to help.mevo.com, go to help.mevo.com. There's a great little search bar. Type in some general words. It's going to make some article recommendations. I'm telling you, if you want to do it and it's Mevo related, you can find it directly on Mevo.com. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And until Thursday, Will and I will see you next time. Thank you all.
See ya.